Marcey Garno, great to have you aboard on the Big H podcast.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Mike. This is really cool that you're doing this. I
Well,
appreciate the invite.
well, good, and I'm glad. I live across, of course, the street from your father, Seb, and I think I went with you first, and I may get him down the line, but
You're a brave man.
I am a brave man, and you know what it's like to live with him, and of course, we live across from him. But great
Yeah,
guy, great guy.
he's a
Uh,
good man.
got many things to go through tonight, and it's your podcast, and we have all the time in the world. Love to hear from you and stories and get your thoughts on things. But
Okay.
to start off, I just want to ask you first question. What's a day in the life of Marcey, your maiden name's Burrett, Garno,
hmm
these days?
Well, I have a little further commute. We did move to the city about 5 years ago, so I'm up early. We have a dog now, so it's walks with the dog and prepping for the work day. I start my workday at the high school at 8 o'clock, and a little bit after staff and students arrive. Um, so I have my 25-minute commute with my coffee, which is my most favorite time of the day now because I come in an hour later. Typically, there's already people standing at my desk, and so it gives me an opportunity to unwind a little bit. But that's my work day. And then it's, crazy day every day. People, say, "Oh, it must be quiet now. You're on break or summertime. It must be quiet." It's, literally maybe 2 weeks out of the 12 months. I play catch up. I purge. I file, catch up on that kind of stuff. But it's a busy office.
And
Weekends are chill. Usually because we're downtown now. One night might be out to see a live show somewhere, or dinner. So I enjoy my weekends.
what type of dog do you have? What's the name?
She's a golden doodle, and she's actually a rescue. With the North Paw Rescue, which is one of the groups that Cooper Streb is working with, rescuing the puppies from the puppy mills. In fact, she was from a mill. So we've had her about a year and a half now, and she's a big dog in the 937 square feet that we're in, but she's awesome. We love her.
And explain a little bit about your commute. What type of music? You listen to music, podcasts? What do you do? Just
Yeah,
sip your
we
coffee and
I Bill has music going all the time. I mean, when we're home, he's got it going now. We listen to all kinds of music: jazz, soul, R&B, classic rock, southern rock, folk music. Really, about the only things that we don't listen to are heavy metal, and we're not really big country traditional country, I guess, fans. So,
for our viewers that don't know, you're the class of 1984 from the village of Hilton.
yeah.
Um, what's the last concert you guys went to? You said you sometimes go to shows downtown or whatever.
Uh, we went to the last live show we went to was on St. Patrick's Day. One of our favorite places to go to down here is a place called Abilene, and there was a Irish band there. We go there a lot. They bring in really good musicians for such a small venue. The owner is pretty well known here in the Rochester area. So, but yeah, that was the last live music we saw, just in a small little venue. Prior to that, I think we were at the new venue there in the old Xerox building where they
Mm-hmm.
turned the theater, and I can't remember who it was, but yeah, we see a lot of shows.
All right, now we're going to go back in time.
Yep.
Let's go back to your birthplace, a little information about your parents, even
hmm
grandparents, and any siblings. I know you
Yeah.
got.
So I was born in Rochester at Rochester General, raised here in Hilton by my parents, Terry and Seb Burrett. Um, had a great childhood. My both my parents' families, extended families, cousins, siblings, were great. I mean, it was, on the Burrett side, it was lots of fun, family Christmases and picnics and reunions. My dad has 3 brothers and a sister. His oldest brother has passed. So, and all of their kids, all of the cousins. And then my mom had my mom passed away 3 years ago, but she has 2 sisters and a brother. Her brother also had passed. But, again, lots of love, lots of support. My parents divorced when I was in middle school, and Dad remarried my stepmom, Kathy. And, I have my sister, Shelly, and Kevin and Sarah, my other 2 younger siblings. So Shelly is in Connecticut. She met her husband at Purdue University, go Boilermakers, and they have since moved to Connecticut. They have 5 boys, and 5 boys. So, but she's doing great, and Kevin and Sarah are here local. Sarah's a teacher in Webster and has her daughter, Harper Jane. She married Mike Lee. And my brother, Kevin, his wife's name is Leah. They have a little girl, Lainey, and they are expecting their son on Friday. They're scheduled for a C-section on Friday. So we're another little Burritt to cause some trouble.
Cause some mayhem.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, Burritt Road, of course, is named after your grandpa.
You know what? It's not somewhere down the road. Not my grandpa, but that house that sits on the corner of 259 and Burritt Road on the east side was called the Burritt Homestead at one point. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure. There is obviously a connection. I'd have to go back and find out how that all came about. But yeah.
Way back in the day, I remember the High Burritt basketball tournament, and I think they did it for girls. Was that your grandfather?
Yeah, that was my dad's dad, High and Audrey Burritt. They lived on Hill Road behind us. Actually, they owned the land from Parma Center to Hill, and then back towards where the Icus Farm actually was. So all that behind Parma Center was their land. So my dad's siblings all built homes right there on Parma Center. So we were all within a, mile and a half radius of each other. So, yeah.
My parents, I think they went to school with Steve. That's your uncle?
Probably Uncle Steve.
Probably.
Yeah.
Uncle Steve.
Yeah.
And then there's Craig. I know he worked security at Hilton too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there was Uncle Steve, my dad, and then my Aunt Chris, and then Craig and, it went Kim and Craig. Yeah, the two younger boys.
And then Mom Terry, she passed 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And she also had some siblings too, I think.
Yes, she had 2 sisters and a brother. And again, her one sister lives down south. She's back and forth between Florida and Georgia. Her husband is a engineer. He worked in a number of hospitals. So they did some, moving between Georgia and Florida. But yeah, all very close, very fortunate that we had that, with all of our aunts and uncles and cousins, and lots of fun. So, yeah. Any
reunions in the summertime with any side of the family?
More so my dad on the Sheldon side, which would have been my grandma's side of the family. And, as time passes and those kinds of things have kind of, fizzled out a little bit, but there's still that attempt to keep the tradition. So, yeah.
Well, occasionally we'll see a bunch of cars in your dad's front yard, and he's got the grill out there. So
yeah, it's usually
I know you guys do.
Usually I'm there. We do that stuff. It's so great that we still do it. He's going to be 81 in April, and as you know, he's still, he still works. He's still active, in the community. So we're very fortunate.
Yeah, I run into him at the mailbox, and before I know it, a half an hour's gone by. Yeah. And Carla's
the
like,
great
where
thing
are you?
Too, even though my parents divorced, and it wasn't easy, initially, but they really became the best of friends, and as we got older, we realized, that was the best thing for them. But, right up until the day my mom passed, and even, my stepmother, Kathy, that had these great friendships that we were so fortunate, Shelley and I, to have that. So, yeah.
And then you incorporated Kevin and
Sarah.
Sarah into it,
Yeah.
so you
Yeah.
extended the
We're all
family.
really close. Yeah.
Going back to your early education, kindergarten through 6, I assume you did it in the village of Hilton?
No, actually, I was at Northwood. We
Okay.
lived on the corner of Parma Center and Hill Road. So at that time, that was Northwood. Um, yeah, I loved that school. It was I had some really good teachers, and fond memories of my music classes, and yeah, it was a good experience for me.
Do you recall any of your early friendships there, and did they materialize into middle and high school friendships?
Most of my friends were at Village. I mean, some of my dearest friends that we still are very close, that we met in middle school and high school. Um, one of my close friends at Northwood was, I don't know if you remember the Duthoy family,
Wasn't
Debbie
there a Tommy
Duthoy.
Duthoy?
Tommy, yeah.
Yeah.
But Debbie was one of my close friends. She's her married name now is Capon. So, and her kids went to Hilton, went to the high school and were athletes. So, but yeah, she was a lot of fun.
You mentioned at Northwood you remembered some of your musical. Was that
Hmm.
vocal or was it instrumental? What was it?
Yeah, I was always into singing. Um, so I was in the chorus there. We had it was Marcia Cotrette at the time. And what is her name now? I can't remember. She still plays music.
I think is it Cher Meta?
Yes. Yeah. She was great. And Mrs.
Mm-hmm.
Keeble, Keble,
Mm-hmm.
I
Peeble.
remember her. Yeah. And then later, it was the gentleman who ended up being the music teacher at the high school, and I can't remember his name. But yeah, I always loved singing. I thought I could really sing. Um, maybe not so much, but in my
Right.
my mind, I could.
And in the shower, right? So
And in the shower. Yeah, I think everybody can sing in the shower.
exactly. What were your memories of middle school? I assume it was at Merton Williams, correct?
It was at Merton Williams. I would say probably, well, I take that back. My fifth and sixth grade years were at West Avenue. So it was
Okay.
K through 4 at Northwood, fifth and sixth at West Avenue, and then seventh and eighth at Merton Williams. Those were kind of difficult years for me because that was when my parents were going through their separation and divorce, and there were a lot of things going on, changes, but I was I tried to stay involved in the music thing. I was still in chorus. I think at that time I was still doing Hilton Raiders, which I have a lot of fond memories of that. You as well. I remember the folks on the board. I have this file at work that I titled Fun Findings, and it's all stuff that I found in the office when I started, or things like my memories from Raiders. And so I kind of leaned on those things. But yeah, I remember those couple years being, difficult. But I had good friends, and again, supportive family. So muddled through it. And yeah, that's kind of what I remember from middle school.
Any other teachers that like maybe they were influential to you or anything like that, or it was just friendships and
Yeah, I would
Raiders and
say
things like
just
that?
friendships. My aunt at the time worked in the guidance office, so I spent a lot of time visiting her. I remember that. My mom's aunt, so she would have been my great aunt. Um, I had Mr. Colburn And
Mm-hmm.
I was on that team. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember the other teachers that were on that team, but I really
He was
enjoyed him. And that's when I met like Michelle Camilacci and Denise Bilby and Bonnie Scopa, that group. That's when we started to develop friendships then. So, and those really are some of my dearest friends even now. So,
still get together and stuff like
oh
that.
yeah, yeah, yep,
All right. So then you moved to the high school,
yeah.
freshman year, 10th. What are your remembrances of Hilton High School? I don't know when you met your husband, Bill. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I really liked the boys. No,
Nothing wrong with that.
no, yeah. So I had to work really hard for my grades. That was again kind of like the end of things. Dad remarrying, and now I've got a little baby sister, um, and so that freshman year again was a little struggle, but I had met some really continued some great friendships. I started cheering and got myself involved in a lot of things to keep me busy. And I really loved my high school years. Mrs. Hackett was a huge influence on me, a great role model. Really, all the PE staff. I met Bill my freshman year in high school. His father was the principal at the high school at the time, Mr. Garno. Um, and we dated all through high school. Um, so, yeah, that was the Garnos were very close friends with a lot of the teachers at the high school. So I got to meet them on a different level. The Kratz family, they were
Right.
very close with them. So spent a lot of time with those families and really, helped to guide me along with my family, you know.
Yeah, I remember the Garnels very vividly as well. I was friends with Greg, who's my
Yeah.
age, and going over there and playing Trivial Pursuit with the family and
Yeah.
just feeling like so inferior compared to
They're all
Harold
so
and
smart.
Ma. They are genius.
Yeah.
And it was like, and then one night I think the Kratzes were over there and they're
Yeah. They
really
are
cool
all
too.
very smart. Like I
Mm-hmm.
can, yeah, I know what you're talking about that intimidation thing.
Seriously. And then of course Harold being the principal at the time, Mr. Garno, I should say.
Right.
And like you said, you see them on a different plane, like it's not
Yeah.
in the school.
But it was always stuff like that. It was always, game night. And, I remember that. And I remember that being, like that was huge for me, having that
mm-hmm.
structure. And yeah, thank God our kids, I mean, they have that gene that our kids are pretty smart.
What was it like dating Bill in high school? I mean, like he was an athlete. I believe he was a wrestler. I think he was a
Yeah.
soccer player too.
Yeah.
And then was it like that relationship of athlete cheerleader type, or what was it like? And
Well,
I don't mean, you know.
yeah, no, it was fun because in at that time when you cheered in the fall, you cheered for football and soccer. So I was, on the sideline cheering when he was playing soccer. And then back then they had wrestling cheerleaders, and all my friends cheered for basketball. But because Bill wrestled, I was a wrestling cheerleader too. And, that was a lot of fun. That was a great atmosphere. I mean, that wrestling has always been I have a real passion for watching it and following, especially our program because of the success that they have. But that's really where I got it from, was from high school and cheering and, knowing how to keep score. And yeah.
And remember during the Clayton Barnard tournament, I think Greg, Bill's brother, asked me to go to a tournament, and we went and watched Bill, and he had like a huge upset of a Spencerport wrestler, and I still
Oh, it
remember
was
it was DeAngelis, right?
Yeah.
And I still remember. I think he had pull out, or I don't know what they call them. I apologize, Craig Gross and Garnos. But I think he stood him up. And, it was like pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a big day because I do remember that.
Mm-hmm. Did you keep score for no, you were cheering for that team, right? Okay.
I never kept score, no.
Okay. Explain a little bit how cheerleading has gone from your day until present day where it's pretty much competitive cheer.
Yeah. So, well, I had the fortune of coaching in the district for 12 years. I coached as the JV coach with Lynn Morgan. And then when she retired, I took over the varsity program. And, that's when it was really starting to become more competitive. I had some really talented teams. We had some, great success. And so in fall of 99 is when due to some unfortunate circumstances, I ended up leaving. Till 5 years ago, when the former varsity coach retired, I was asked to be on the hiring committee, to bring on our current varsity coach, who is the absolute real deal. I am so happy that I was a part of that, because Shelly Camano is, I don't know how many sectional titles we've won since she's been on board, but we have some great talent. Evolved beyond, it's just the gymnastics and the level of difficulty, and the scoring is all based on a rubric and categories, and it's fun. And it's nice to see it getting the respect that it really does deserve. So, it's been fun to watch that over the years.
Those girls are athletes.
Do
you ever go to the competitions, or you just catch them when they're doing their routine in school?
No, I've been, I try to go when I can. I've been to most of their sectional tournaments. I love the live stream now, because if I can't, get to that or another event, it's great to have that option. But no, I try to get to as much as I can for them, and they always seem to really, they have success throughout their seasons, but she just has them primed and ready for the end of the season for, all of the big tournaments. So she's really great.
I'm glad you brought her to it, or you were one of the ones on the committee to bring her to it.
Yeah, me too.
When you were you're coaching, I think it was for 12 years. You had another job, I assume, right, during the day, and then you coach at night?
Well, so I started out when I spent 2 years at Cazenovia College. I got my associates there. At that time, it was a 2-year college. My freshman year was the first year that it was a co-ed school. Unfortunately, it has closed just recently, within the last 2 or 3 years. And I went on to Brockport and for my bachelor's degree in business with a concentration in marketing. So I started out working at an advertising agency here in downtown Rochester. I worked in their media department. And at that time, Bill was working at RIT as a director. Well, I take that back. He was in the printing industry. So we ended up moving to New Jersey for a couple years. I've kind of blocked that 2 years out of my mind, because it wasn't my most favorite time. So we were there for 2 years, and he ended up we ended up back in Rochester, and I ended up back in the advertising world. And then we started to have started our family. I went back to work for maybe a year or a little bit longer, and I found out I was pregnant again with our second daughter. And so from that point on, I was kind of working. We decided I was going to stay home, and it was just doing part-time stuff, cleaning houses. I worked at a restaurant for a little while, and then I ended up teaching preschool. So I was working part-time while I was coaching and raising the kids. So So yeah, I was very fortunate. That was kind of like a source of income for me, also my coaching. Um, so yeah, there were times, in fact, when Tony Streb was playing football, I one in my belly, one on the backpack, running down Favre Stadium on the sideline. And
Mm-hmm.
those were exciting times when the kids were little, babies, and coaching during that time.
Curious, what were some of your responsibilities in was it media and the advertising world? What'd you do? Like, what more
Yeah.
specifically?
So our department worked on, at that time, like print ads and TV ads for our clients. So we, looked for those spaces in print magazines and newspapers and time slots for, um, typically it was like news during news hours. So that was what I did in that department. So that was fun too.
What did you learn about yourself when you're doing all those different jobs and stuff?
Yeah, I yeah, I'm not a I don't sit down a lot. I'm
Right.
not a reader. I
Mm-hmm.
really can't sit down a lot. I think I
Mm-hmm.
take after my father in that respect. So I just knew that I was going to do something to help contribute to the family because, I was able to stay home with the kids. So, um, I found that I put my mind to it. I could make it through the day,
Mm-hmm.
working part-time, volunteering hours at school with the kids. Time management was a huge learning experience for me during that time.
You said
So,
you worked at a restaurant and also taught preschool.
yeah, I taught preschool for 7 years at the Methodist church in
Mm-hmm.
town, Noah's Preschool.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it was a little bit longer than that, but the girls were older now. They were in school all day. And then I started, Simon was just starting kindergarten. So that freed up my mornings. So I was able to, do that. It was like a 9 to 11:30 morning, with preschool. So I had a 3-year-old class. Um, oh, and it was so fun. They were so cute.
Mm-hmm.
And they thought you were the best thing since sliced bread when you were there. But then you saw them a couple years later. They had no idea who you were.
Exactly. They move on real quickly.
Yeah, they do.
Did you, and then the restaurant you worked at, or was there a couple that you worked at?
Yeah, no, I worked at the Apple Tree Inn that
Mm-hmm.
used to be up on 104 out in Clarkson. And again,
Mm-hmm.
it worked out. The kids were just old enough where the girls were in school. And then I had a couple of my cousins, actually Craig's twin daughters, who were homeschooled, that they would come during those hours that I was, working at the restaurant and watch the kids for me. So
Now,
it
when you
all
were
worked
teaching,
out.
it did. And I mean, did you ever consider when you were doing preschool to go back to get a teaching certificate, or that never came to your mind?
No,
No?
I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't want, yeah.
Because you're a mega
It was just
people
enough.
person.
Pardon
Mm-hmm.
me?
You're a very people person oriented. I mean, I run
Yeah.
across you a lot at the AD department,
Yeah.
but
I love people. I love watching people. I love interacting with people. And yeah, I mean, I'll talk to anybody. I mean, why not? Like, why not?
well,
It's fun.
I know one of my colleagues, and I won't mention his or her name. I said, I was like, well, what do you guys do on this particular day? He said, well, I go to this meeting, and then I just go to Marcy's office and bug her for about an hour. So this guy looks forward to it, I was like, so you have that
I
effect
know
on
who you're
people.
talking about. And I love
Okay.
talking to him too.
He's hilarious. Now I'm going to press you a little bit. New Jersey, did you not like the area, or was it just a point in your life and your marriage that just you just want to forget those 2 years?
Yeah, no, I think it was the area, people were just a little, no, not a lot of pleases or thank yous. And it was just a
Mm-hmm.
little harsh for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we had good friends, like we had some Rochester friends that lived near us that we spent a lot of time with. This Tony played soccer with Bill at RIT. So, and they ended up out in Nyack, which was about a half hour from us. So we spent a lot of time with them. So we had fun. I mean, we spent a lot of time in the city and that kind of thing. It just, I miss my family. You know, it's just a
Mm-hmm.
different pace,
Mm-hmm.
more demanding. And so I struggled with that.
You come from this little village of Hilton, so then
Yeah.
you're in New Jersey, and you said you went to the city quite often,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
like that, like.
Just travel into the city. You know, we had a lot of friends
Mm-hmm.
come visit us, so that was the
Mm-hmm.
thing to do. We'd, take them into the city, and um, um, so that was fun. I mean, we were close to a lot of different places, and we made the most of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it just wasn't for me.
Now I pulled out the yearbook because when you were a senior, I was a freshman, scared to death of the high school, and it was probably your most fun year of high school.
Yeah.
And they put you write these things up, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 represents freshman, 2, 3, 4 being
Oh
senior.
God.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember this. Mouse and Moose. What was that relation to?
Mouse. Mouse was my nickname,
Okay.
and
And
yeah,
who's Moose?
that was probably just another
Okay.
nickname that somebody said
Thumper.
once, and I thought it was cool to put in the yearbook.
Okay, so then it's Thumper, Marcey, Fartsy, Fortsy.
No, those were just all like nicknames, I guess. Boy, the things we did
Okay.
back then, right?
Super good times. JV cheerleading 1 and 2, captain 2, which I assume is your sophomore year, correct?
Yeah.
Varsity cheerleading 3, 4, captain 4. I'd like our audience also to know junior year you were homecoming queen, or maybe that was freshman year.
It was my freshman year. That's right. Will Prince and I.
You want to
He
talk
was the
about
king.
the junior prom?
What?
You were on the
Say that
junior
again?
prom court. You were on the
Yeah.
junior prom court. BS's buddy, 1, 2, 3, 4. Is
Bonnie
that Bonnie
Scopel.
Scopel?
Yeah.
Okay. I know this is hell on you right now, but I'm going to go through it. I'm almost done. I don't have either 4. All in a Mouse's Night 4.
Oh.
Adventures 1 through 11.
Yeah.
Wow, Bonnie 1, 2, 3, 4. Closet Driving with DB, KG, and BS. I think I know those
Yeah.
initials. Fweddy's Admirer 3, Forever. And then Your Afterlife, College, Get Married, and Have Little Mice, and Live Happily Ever After in a House by the Ocean.
Oh God. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that.
A little trip down memory lane there, Marcey.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to get away. So as we move on into your college years, you went to Cazenovia, and then Bill went to RIT. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And what field of study did he do?
He was actually. It was back when printing existed. He was newspaper production management is what he was. So he had Ron Hindmarch in high school, and like most people, that had Ron, became very interested in the world of printing. So that's kind of the direction that he went.
What year did you get married?
We were married in 1988. We just celebrated our 35-year anniversary in December.
Congratulations.
Crazy. Thanks.
And then your children, when did they start coming along? Tell us a little bit about them, their names, and what they're up to.
Yeah. So our firstborn, Bailey, she was born in 92. She's now 30 years old. She lives in Los Angeles. And she works in the music industry. so all three of our kids, we're so proud of all three of them. Bailey graduated from Syracuse and ended up out in LA. She studied radio, television, and film. She thought she wanted to go in. She dabbled a little bit in acting when she was younger, and initially thought that that's what she wanted to do. And she graduated from Syracuse, came home for a month, worked, and ended up, knowing that she was going to head back out to LA, and went there with no job, no place to live. And, it's a big Syracuse networking there in LA. So she ended up, staying with some friends until she found a job, and she's doing great. Ellie, our middle child, also a Syracuse grad, brilliant, like all three kids are, but Ellie, the girls were both 4-season athletes and involved in, choir, chorus, and band, and environmental club, and, all that good stuff. At least in Syracuse, she just got married in December. And she teaches. She's a reading teacher, reading specialist in the Syracuse City School District. She teaches at Nottingham. And then our youngest, Simon, he also just got married. He was married in July. He's here he and his wife live in West Irondequoit. He married a Hilton girl, Rachel Siciliano, and she is a teacher. She's a counselor. And in the Spencerport School District. So, yeah.
So, I recently had a child go off to college. What was it like, and if you could give advice to people that first kid that goes off to college, what was that like for you and Bill, and how did you manage that, the emotions and whatnot?
I just would say, first of all, it comes so quickly. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, you're like, how are we here? Just like now, how do we have two kids that are married and a 30-year-old?
Mm-hmm.
It was hard. It was hard because as a stay-at-home mom, who was there for them all the time, it was an adjustment, and especially because the kids were very close, the girls especially. So, but she was so happy and so excited, and that's what you really have to focus on. You've done all given them all the tools that you can, and just hope that they make their good decisions, and you've done your job. So, but yeah, it is tough. It is hard.
When the girls were they at Syracuse? Did you visit quite a bit there? I mean, that's not too bad, not too far.
Yeah,
away.
Yeah, not too much. I mean, we would do little visits here and there, and they would come home on breaks and stuff like that. But they loved it. Ellie had her own radio station there on their the campus, the university mm-hmm. radio station. She had her own show, so they were involved in stuff that kept them busy. So. And of course that at a school like that, there's just so much excitement going on. Ellie was a tutor for a lot of the athletes.
Wow.
Yeah. So she had
football team or basketball team, lacrosse?
Basketball, lacrosse, and primarily basketball and lacrosse.
Mm-hmm.
So that was fun. You got to know the player, It was fun.
Now, Ellie, you said she had a show. Was this like playing music, or was it an interview type of format?
Yeah, the girls especially kind of, they found our love for music. And so, yeah, she had a show, an hour-long show. It was called her show was called Fool on the Hill, which is a Beatles tune.
Okay.
So, yeah, we had fun listening to her play her music.
And then Simon, I believe he was a pretty good athlete too, right? He played soccer and stuff like that.
Simon, he was actually just inducted into the Hall of Fame, which was was really exciting. He was soccer. He played soccer and basketball, played basketball up until his sophomore year. And he played soccer modified through varsity. But yeah, he, how we eat, live, and breathe soccer here in the Garno household. And yeah, he had his senior year, it was that successful season when they won the sectional title and regionals and went on to states. And as you know, with, both your kids, that is such a great memory. I mean, like
it sure is.
You will never forget that. It was such an exciting time. And he had a very successful career at RIT, also at the collegiate level. So, yeah, that induction was really special. We're really proud of him.
So he played for Dad at RIT?
Yep. Yeah.
How was that?
They managed. They managed. And, Bill has a great staff there, and they helped manage that. So it was a good experience. It was hard for me. I kind of separated myself from the parents. Not, it's just as the wife of the coach and a mother of one of the players, you just, but it was exciting.
And is that what Bill's still doing today? Is he just primarily the soccer coach? Does that take up all his time?
So that position, when he was even when he was working, he was a director. He ended up coming back after we moved back to Rochester. He ended up working at RIT as a director of a print lab there. And at that time, he was coaching. He was hired as the head coach at RIT, but it was a part-time position. And I can't remember when it went full-time, but he took that opportunity to coach full-time. And and he's still there. So I think they're going to have to kick him out in order for him to give it up.
With Bailey, you said she's out in LA. Have you visited her a few times? And when you do go to visit, what do you guys do?
Well, usually when we go to visit, it's supposed to be relaxing time for us. She'll usually have, a few things planned for us, museums or stuff like beach, we got to go to the beach. But the places that she's stayed at, there's always been a pool, all of her apartments that she's been in. And usually we see some live music while we're there also.
There you go.
We actually went last summer. She got us tickets to go see Bob Dylan in downtown LA. And then we visited the Troubadour, which is was a really big spot for a lot of up and coming artists right in Hollywood. And that was cool. So, yeah.
Yeah. Now it also was mentioned you had 2 weddings pretty much within a calendar year, right?
Yeah.
That must have been interesting to schedule all of that and plan all that, huh?
I was losing my mind. It was a lot. I mean, 6 months apart. But yeah, Bill really enjoyed me during that time frame because I was so calm. But they were great. Everything was beautiful, and they're, we're so happy for both of them. Their spouses are wonderful people, and yeah.
Here's some. I'm going to call them little deeper questions. What do you consider your biggest challenge? Maybe one that you overcome or one that you're working on?
I worry a lot. Like, it's hard for me to shut my mind off. And it's not, I could worry about work. So I get so stressed at work. It's a lot. It's a lot of responsibility in that office. So that part of my brain is constantly, oh my God, I forgot this. I got to remember this tomorrow. Or, and then of course you never stop worrying about your kids, regardless
Mhm.
of how old, how old they are or how successful or independent and, confident. You know, as a mom, you worry. Um, I would say that's probably, I just shutting the mind off is a tough thing for me.
We kind of glossed over your day-to-day work. You're in the athletic department. You're the administrative assistant. Tell us a little bit about that responsibility.
Yeah. I mean, you figure how many teams. I just put together a list. We have in the fall season alone, we have probably 700 athletes, and then I think we figured there's like 75 plus coaches,
Mm-hmm.
throughout the year. Um, and then the number of teams, you figured modified through varsity, and now we have multiple modified level teams. Um, it's a lot of responsibility, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, not only are you, maintaining records and update reports and day-to-day officials and transportation, and I do a lot of with our business office, like all of the purchasing and invoicing, and so it's a lot of responsibility, and I enjoy it. It's the perfect spot for me. It really is. I mean, I went back to work at 47 full time. I can't believe that I'd landed that job. I mean, I was, coloring and cutting things out at preschool. And
Mm-hmm.
here I am now, having to learn all of these systems. And, I was very thankful for Mike Dritzy, the athletic director who hired me, that he gave me that opportunity, because it's a great fit for me. So I'm capable of doing all that stuff. Sometimes I get a little stressed, and people like to visit, and so,
Right. Right.
and I then there's a part of me that it so enjoys, talking with people, and so it's just, you got to manage it and prioritize, and you got to learn that some things can wait till the next day. Mike used to say, well, it's not like we're losing anybody on the operating table, and it's stuff like that you have
Right.
to, your primary thing is, our teams getting to where they need to be, are our officials showing up, you know that kind of stuff is really the day-to-day important things. So
Well, from my interactions with you, you make it look very seamless. Whenever I have a question, you're usually able to respond back in 5 minutes. You make it look easy, Marcey. I
well,
got to tell you.
thanks. If I don't
Um,
respond back in 5 minutes, then I've lost you. I
you'll have.
yeah.
I think there was one time in the 20 years I've been working, and most of them with you, that you didn't get back to me on an email, and it was like, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but yeah, you're right. I know, like from transportation requests, coaches trying to get a hold of the AD, parents coming in and out calling. You didn't even mention like new athletes to the programs that aren't familiar with recertification. It's just,
Right.
it's a lot going on,
Yeah.
but you do make it look easy.
I tell you, it's the kids that I love,
Mhm.
I love, especially when they are senior, as they get older and they know who you are and they just pop in to say hi. We had a cheerleader last year who ended up at Clemson. She's our first cheerleader to go like to a big D1 school, and she made the team. And she was actually at the
Elite Eight.
yeah, she was at the, I forget what round it was, maybe
Yeah.
the Sweet 16 round, and
Hmm.
she sent me a picture of her at the game, and it was just really, it's that kind of stuff that you're like, it keeps you're level headed there when you're ready to
What's,
lose your mind.
what's her last name? Gizzy, correct?
Yeah, Sophia.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sophia Gizzy. That
yeah.
is cool. Um, who do you think is the most influential person in your life, if you could narrow it to one?
You know what? I I gotta say, my husband. I mean, really, he just, I have to say that. Don't tell him I said that. No, he really is. He really is. He's just a good human. And, yeah, he's, we've done a good job together raising our kids, and he was, a part of my life when things weren't easy for me. And, yeah. Yeah,
I
still.
think it's a testament you dated all the way through high school and you're basically childhood sweethearts, right?
Yeah.
It's a good
Yeah.
story. It's a great story. Do you remember when he proposed to you, or you want to keep that off air? I don't care. Is he romantic, I guess is what I may
Oh
say.
God, no. 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 It was Christmas Eve when he would propose, but what I most remember is like when he asked me to go out with him or whatever. It was like St. Patrick's Day or something. He gave me a green carnation. Like I remember that more than I do his wedding, his marriage proposal. It's silly, but I do remember that.
All right, here's a weird one. Who are three people, or maybe just one person from history, that you'd like to have dinner with?
That I would like to have dinner with.
Pick their
From
brain.
history?
Yeah. Could be familial, maybe someone you didn't meet in your family history. Could be someone from history.
Oh, probably my mom's dad would be one, because he passed away when she was a child. And my mother was the kindest, just had such a good heart. And she always talked about him. I mean, he passed when she was 10 years old, but she adored him. So I think that would be one person that I would want, would want to meet or have dinner with. So I would also say my sister Shelly has had, she's again the kindest. We are so very much alike, but so different in a lot of respects also. But she's had some health struggles. She's doing fabulous. And she has a form of cancer, which she's doing very well, called multiple myeloma. And through some connections, she ended up with a staff of doctors who also are Tom Brokaw, the news anchor, his staff of doctors. He has multiple myeloma. So she ended up with this, like the best of the best, these doctors. And I think he would be another, because I would just want to, thank him for everything that he has done for our family. I can't. That's a tough one. I would have.
That's all right. You got two. Tell me
I
a little
got
bit
two.
about more, and because I agree, because I know you, and I knew Shelly, of course, and I know Shelly. I didn't know your mom very much, but tell us a little bit more about your mom. You said she's one of the sweetest, kindest people, and obviously that has transpired down to you and Shelly.
Yeah, she just loved Shelly. Shelly and I were her world. I mean, she had a difficult upbringing. She had some struggles as a child. I mean, her father had committed suicide, so that had an impact on her. So life wasn't always easy for her, but like I said, her and my father became so close and such great friends. And she was there during those Raiders years, and she was putting the notes in the mailbox, or excuse me, in the lunch boxes, and did what as best as she could, after my parents had separated and divorced, and finally took some time to do some things for herself, which was good. Yeah, she gave Shelly and I that, Dad, obviously social. I got my
Right.
from my father,
Right.
and that I think that kind and caring piece from my mom.
It
So
sounds like a great role model for you and your sister.
yeah.
Um, what would people be surprised to learn about you that you haven't told me already?
I like, well, not so much now because of where we are and having to downsize, but I've been known to do some dumpster diving, and I love to like refinish things, and I love to decorate. And I always joke that I watch all these DIYers. I follow them on Instagram, and in my mind, I think I could build a house.
Mm-hmm.
but I think that would be it. Like I'd like I said, not so much now because of the amount of space that we have, but if we end up in a house again someday, a small house when the kids start having kids, yeah, I might dive in a few more dumpsters and see what I can conjure up and repaint and
Well,
embellish a little bit.
you can't let the dumpster dive go without one more question on that.
Okay.
What was one of your most prized possessions that you grabbed from a dumpster side of the road?
Okay. So when we lived on Buttonwood, someone was throwing out an old, it was like a fish tank table. And so Marlene Pickett and I
Mm-hmm.
schlepped this thing back to my house, and I, sanded it down, and I added some legs to it and all of these like pretty things and painted it. And it's what I used as our console table that our TV went on. And yeah, that's probably the biggest thing that I did. Even when we were moving, like we literally had all of these garage sales, and I was selling stuff on Facebook Marketplace, and literally driving my car to our new apartment full of stuff. And somebody had these two little side tables out at the end of their driveway. And I was like, I gotta stop and get those, and I did.
Well, as it goes, one man's trash is another man's treasure.
There you
In
go.
your case,
That is
one
true.
woman's trash is another woman's treasure.
Yeah.
How do you balance your professional life with personal interests and relationships? Because I think this is good advice for people. Because you're a busy woman at work. It's a 12-month out of the year job.
Well, I guess I look at it differently because I was so fortunate to be home, with my kids and available to them. And this was my time, for me. Yeah, I don't do a lot during the week. Summertime, I try to make the most of the summertime and nights, especially down here, where we are, it's so busy. But, my weekends are for me, and I've learned to not say yes to everything. You know what I mean? It's okay to say no when you've worked a long day, a long week, and maybe you just want to order a fish fry in on a Friday night, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm. I think that's great advice. Learning how to say no and
Yeah.
not always be at everyone's beck and call. Because
Right.
you do a great job Monday through Friday, I got to say.
Well, thank you.
What's something you wish you had known 10 years ago?
Wow. Well, we've started paying our Parent Plus loans back, so I wish I would have known. That's a lot.
Right.
So, like, not that we would have done anything differently,
Mm-hmm.
we wouldn't change a thing, but maybe planned a little bit better.
I I can agree too. I'm 4
Yeah.
years younger, but I can agree. I can
Yeah,
attest.
you don't, you're just living it and you want it for them, and you're going to do whatever you can to make it happen. And
Hmm.
but again, wouldn't change a thing.
When I was doing some research, I did notice that Doug Lemke, was he in your grade?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Can you bring a little bit about his life to our audience and explain
Yeah.
what he went through?
So Doug was a wrestler, and he was a really, again, like kind of in a smaller group of, he was like the O'Sheas, and a group that wasn't really great, like great people, but just not, is social,
Hmm.
in the circle of friends that I hung out with. But he was just like this really great guy that you always, wanted to talk to. And uh, actually, Bill and I attended his, the last time I saw him before he really started getting sick was at our 10-year class reunion. And his wife, he married an O'Shea, Jeannie
Hmm.
O'Shea, and,
Hmm.
just a great woman. And they were just both so strong and just faced like the worst possible, set of circumstances. And their boys were great. And Bill and I attended his service, and it was beautiful. And he planned the whole thing, the music, he had, I think we got a CD, and he had the songs that he was playing for his boys. And we had um, we shared the same music, like likes. And I just remember being so, I mean, it was very emotional, but just was beautiful, and that's how he was. He was just a deep thinker. And um, yeah, that's what I remember about Doug.
He
So
had
sad.
Lou Gehrig's
Yeah,
disease, right?
yeah, yeah.
Well, as we start to wrap it up here, Marcey Garno, you got anything on your bucket list?
Uh, More traveling. Bill's first job, it took him all over the place. He was in, Germany, and he went to South Africa. He was actually there during World Cup. Had the opportunity to travel a lot when he was working in the printing industry.
Hmm.
So I would love to go to Ireland. We've been to
Hmm.
Scotland, um, but yeah, that's just traveling.
Traveling.
Yeah.
Now, I do these podcasts because I want to bring out Hilton and Hilton people. According to you, what do you think is special about Hilton that maybe, I know you don't live in Hilton right now, but you work in Hilton, but you and your husband and your family is very successful due to the rooting of Hilton. What makes it special?
Um, it's obviously changed a lot, but there still is um, that close knit community. And I think, I still see that because I grew up in Hilton, and I know the families, that still are in the area. Um, there's just good hearted people, and just that, the little village that cares, right? Isn't that what
Hmm.
it is?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
It, okay, so comes to the point and you're retired, 5 years into retirement. What do you want people to remember you by from your workings at Hilton?
Um, I think just, like just trying to be a good person, and again, just loving to meet people and talk with people, and maybe my sense of humor. Um, yeah, helpful. I would
Well,
say that would be.
well, you're not retired yet, but I mean, one of the things I can say is I think people stop by and bug you or trying to do your job is because You are so fun to talk with, and you got a great laugh. It came through on this podcast. It's been really nice getting to know you. I learned a few new things, and I really wish you good luck in, how many years you got left.
Thank you. Yeah, I've got those Parent Plus loans, Mike. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon.
You and me both. You and me both. Well, listen, you say hi to Bill. You enjoy your dog and get to some music. And I'll be seeing you around the high school saying hi.
Thanks so much, soon. Mike. I really enjoyed this.
All right. Me too. Good night.
All right. Take care.